When I look at the youth of our nation, I don't just see young faces, I see the strength, the courage, and the potential to transform the destiny of this country. History tells us that real change never comes from those sitting in comfort. It comes from those who dare to dream, who rise when others doubt, and who believe in their own strength. You, the youth, are not just the future. You are the present, the force that can break the chains of fear, of doubt, of limitations. If you decide today to change yourselves, to build discipline, to stand for truth and justice, then no power in the world can stop this nation from rising. Remember, transformation does not begin with others, it begins with you. Be the change, and you will see the world around you change. Self-transformation is the first and most powerful step towards bringing change, not only in one's own life, but in the destiny of a nation. Before anyone dreams of changing society, before anyone wishes to change the system, the culture, or the environment around them, they must first look inward. It is within the self where the journey begins. The youth often look at the challenges of the world and wonder how to fix them, but the truth is that no change can take root until the individual has transformed from within. This transformation is not about temporary adjustments. It is about building a mindset, a character, and a resilience that can withstand the storms of life. The world will always test you with difficulties, failures, and doubts. But if you are strong inside, then no obstacle can stop you from reaching your destination. Self-transformation means conquering your fears, disciplining your habits, and believing in your ability to rise above mediocrity. Too often, young people are trapped in cycles of self-doubt and comparison. They measure themselves against others instead of focusing on their own potential. The first act of real change is breaking free from this cycle and recognizing that true strength lies in self-mastery. If you cannot control your own impulses, if you cannot discipline your own actions, then how can you dream of changing the lives of others? It is only when you start building your inner world with honesty, with courage, and with discipline that you can become an agent of transformation. The greatest revolutions in history were not led by people who were perfect in the eyes of society, but by those who had mastered themselves. They were individuals who refused to bow before fear, who refused to give up when life knocked them down. Self-transformation requires the courage to take responsibility. It is easy to blame circumstances, governments, systems, and leaders for the problems of life. But the youth who truly bring change are the ones who ask themselves what they can do to rise above the obstacles. This shift of mindset is the foundation of transformation because it removes the excuses that hold people back. It empowers you to take control of your life rather than waiting for others to fix it. When a young person decides to transform themselves, they are not only improving their own destiny, but setting an example for everyone around them. People are inspired not by words alone, but by actions, by seeing someone live with discipline, integrity, and passion. The energy of youth is contagious, and when directed towards self-improvement, it becomes a light for the entire society. It shows others that greatness is not reserved for a chosen few, but is possible for anyone who dares to take the journey within. Self-transformation teaches humility because it forces you to confront your weaknesses, and it teaches strength because it helps you overcome them. It is in this process of transformation that real leadership is born. A leader is not someone who only speaks of change, but someone who embodies it. The youth who take this step realize that leadership is not about power or position. It is about responsibility, service, and the ability to inspire others. The transformation of a single person can spark the transformation of families, communities, and ultimately entire nations. Every great movement began with individuals who decided to change themselves first. This is why the journey of self-transformation is the most important step that youth must take if they wish to bring about true change in the world. Youth are the driving force of national destiny because they represent energy, vision, and the power to shape the future. No nation in history has ever risen without its young generation stepping forward with courage and responsibility. When the youth decide to stand up, societies move forward, nations find direction, and entire civilizations are reborn. The destiny of a country does not lie in the hands of a few leaders or institutions alone. It lies in the collective spirit and determination of its youth. They are the ones who bring fresh ideas, who refuse to accept outdated limitations, and who challenge the status quo with new solutions. This energy of youth is unmatched because it is filled with hope, ambition, and an unshakable belief that tomorrow can be better than today. The young mind carries the ability to dream big and the heart to work tirelessly for those dreams. Unlike those who may have become tired or disillusioned with life, the youth carry within them the fire of possibility. They dare to question, they dare to imagine, and they dare to act. That is why history records that the most powerful movements of change were always carried by the young. Whether it was the struggle for freedom, the fight for justice, or the battle against corruption, it was always the young generation that took the first bold steps. Their passion pushes them to break the chains of fear and complacency, and their determination ensures that they do not give up even when the road ahead seems impossible. For a nation, its youth are like the heartbeat that keeps it alive and moving. If the heartbeat is strong, the nation thrives. If the heartbeat weakens, the nation loses its strength. The energy of young people, when channeled in the right direction, can create wonders. It can transform weak economies into strong ones, corrupt systems into transparent ones, and divided societies into united ones. But when the same energy is wasted on distractions, negativity, and hopelessness, it becomes a liability instead of an asset. That is why the most important task for every young person is to realize that they are not just living for themselves. They are carrying the future of their families, their communities, and their nation on their shoulders. The youth are also the bridge between tradition and modernity. They inherit the values, culture, and wisdom of their elders, but at the same time, they bring the creativity, innovation, and boldness of the new world. This unique combination allows them to preserve what is meaningful, while also building what is necessary for progress. They do not fear technology, they do not fear change, and they do not fear challenges. Instead, they embrace these things as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to shape a brighter tomorrow. Every young person who realizes this role automatically becomes a driver of national destiny, because they stop waiting for change and start creating it with their own actions. The responsibility of the youth is greater than they often realize. They are not just students preparing for exams, workers looking for jobs, or individuals chasing personal goals. They are potential leaders, innovators, and reformers. They are the vision of tomorrow, walking in the present, if they decide to live with purpose. If they dedicate their energy to building rather than destroying, and if they channel their creativity towards solutions rather than complaints, then the future of the nation becomes unstoppable. Nations rise or fall not because of the wealth they possess or the size of their armies, but because of the spirit of their youth. When that spirit is alive, determined, and disciplined, no obstacle can prevent destiny from being achieved. Courage and faith conquer fear and doubt, because these two qualities form the foundation of every great achievement in life. Fear and doubt are the biggest enemies of human potential. They paralyze the mind, weaken the spirit, and convince people to settle for mediocrity. Many dreams are buried not because they were impossible, but because individuals allowed fear to control them. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of criticism. These invisible chains hold people back from even trying. Along with fear comes doubt, the inner voice that says you are not capable, you are not strong enough, you are not worthy of success. But history has shown that those who rise above fear and silence the voice of doubt are the ones who change the course of nations. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. Faith is the inner belief that no matter how tough the journey becomes, you will find the strength to keep moving forward. Courage gives youth the ability to take the first step while faith gives them the strength to keep walking when the road becomes difficult. Every great leader, every reformer, every visionary was tested with moments of fear and doubt. What made them extraordinary was not that they never felt fear, but that they refused to be ruled by it. They trusted their conviction. They believed in their vision, and they had faith that their struggle had meaning. It is in these moments of courage and faith that character is built. Young people who embrace this mindset become unstoppable because they no longer wait for the world to become easy. Instead, they prepare themselves to be strong. Courage also demands sacrifice. It means being ready to stand alone when others are silent, to speak the truth when lies are more convenient, and to keep going when quitting looks easier. Youth with courage inspire others because their bravery becomes a light in times of darkness. Faith complements this courage by giving inner strength. It allows a person to see beyond temporary failures and to remain firm in the belief that success is possible. Faith is what prevents despair from taking root, even when everything seems lost. Together, courage and faith create resilience, and resilience is the most powerful weapon any young person can carry in the face of adversity. Without courage, talent remains unused. Without faith, courage collapses under pressure. That is why the combination of both is essential. The youth who cultivate courage and faith become leaders of transformation. They are the ones who can challenge injustice, resist corruption, and stand up for what is right, even if it means facing criticism or hardships. They do not wait for someone else to lead. They step forward because they believe in their own ability to make a difference. This belief is contagious, and it spreads to others who might otherwise have stayed silent or afraid. The greatest revolutions in history were never led by the majority in comfort, but by the courageous minority who had unshakable faith in their vision. They endured failures, ridicule, and resistance, but their courage pushed them forward and their faith sustained them. The youth of today must understand that fear and doubt will always exist, but they are powerless in front of a determined heart. Courage is the fire that burns within, and faith is the fuel that keeps it alive. When youth embrace both, they rise above limitations. They break the barriers of hesitation, and they walk the path that leads not only to their own success, but to the transformation of entire societies. Discipline and hard work shape true leaders, because without these two qualities, talent and potential remain wasted. The youth of any nation are blessed with energy, creativity, and ambition, but these gifts only become powerful when guided by discipline and effort. Talent may open doors, but it is discipline that keeps them open, and it is hard work that allows someone to walk through them and achieve greatness. Many people dream of success, but very few are willing to put in the daily sacrifices required to reach it. Discipline is the ability to control your desires, to stay focused when distractions are pulling you in every direction, and to commit to a goal even when motivation fades. Hard work is the constant effort, the hours of dedication, and the willingness to do what others are unwilling to do. Together, they form the backbone of leadership. Youth often admire leaders and heroes, but what they forget is that behind every achievement lies years of consistent discipline and relentless hard work. Greatness is not achieved in a single moment. It is built brick by brick, day by day, through persistence. The footballer who scores the winning goal, the scientist who makes a discovery, the leader who inspires millions, all of them spent countless unseen hours practicing, studying, and struggling. It is easy to celebrate their victories, but their real success lies in the discipline and hard work that no one saw. That is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Discipline is also about building character. It means waking up on time, setting priorities, and living with purpose rather than drifting aimlessly. It means saying no to temptations that waste time and energy, and yes to routines that build strength and knowledge. Hard work then takes this discipline and turns it into results. No matter how intelligent or talented someone is, without hard work, their potential remains buried. The youth who want to be true leaders must accept that there are no shortcuts in life. Success built on shortcuts is fragile, but success built on discipline and hard work is unshakable. Another important aspect of discipline is consistency. Anyone can work hard for a day or a week, but true leaders are those who maintain their efforts over years. They don't give up when results are slow, and they don't lose focus when distractions arise. Consistency requires self-control and vision. It requires the strength to stay the course when others quit. This is where hard work plays its role as a test of endurance. Hard work is not glamorous. It is often repetitive and exhausting. But it is in these moments that leaders are shaped. Those who push through the grind are the ones who build the resilience needed to handle bigger challenges in life. Youth who embrace discipline and hard work also learn humility. They understand that nothing is achieved overnight and that success is earned, not given. This humility keeps them grounded and prevents arrogance from destroying their progress. It also makes them more empathetic leaders because they know the struggles and sacrifices required to rise. True leadership is not about commanding others, but about setting an example, and discipline and hard work create that example. When others see a young person living with focus, refusing to waste time, and giving their best effort in every task, they are inspired to follow the same path. A nation filled with disciplined and hard-working youth is a nation destined for greatness. Such youth become innovators, entrepreneurs, reformers, and leaders who drive progress. They don't wait for opportunities. They create them through consistent effort. They don't complain about difficulties. They embrace them as challenges to overcome. The combination of discipline and hard work allows them to turn vision into reality and dreams into achievements. This is why every young person who desires to lead must first master themselves through discipline and commit to the journey of hard work, for only then can they carry the weight of leadership and inspire transformation in others. Standing for justice defines real strength, because it is easy to remain silent in the face of wrongdoing, but it requires true courage to raise your voice against it. Justice is the foundation of every strong and honorable society, and without it, nations crumble under the weight of corruption, oppression, and inequality. For the youth, standing for justice means more than just speaking against what is wrong. It means living with integrity, refusing to compromise on principles, and being willing to face hardship for the sake of truth. Real strength is not measured by how much power or wealth someone holds. It is measured by their ability to stand firm when injustice surrounds them. Youth who dare to defend justice become the conscience of society, guiding it away from darkness and towards fairness, dignity, and respect. Justice demands sacrifice, and sacrifice is never easy. It often means standing alone when others remain silent. It means facing criticism when others choose comfort, and it means fighting battles that may not bring immediate reward. Yet, it is in these sacrifices that character is revealed. Those who chase only personal benefit will compromise their values when tested, but those who value justice will stand tall even when they have everything to lose. Such people become the true leaders of tomorrow because their strength does not come from position or privilege, but from the power of truth. Youth who embody this principle prove that the real measure of strength lies not in dominating others, but in defending what is right, even if it means personal cost. When young people commit themselves to justice, they begin to shape a culture of accountability. Corruption thrives when the youth are silent. Oppression grows when the youth are passive, but transformation begins when the youth decide that they will not accept a system built on lies and exploitation. Justice is not limited to courts or institutions. It begins in everyday life. It is in the honesty with which one studies, the fairness with which one treats others, the courage with which one refuses to cheat or exploit. These small acts of justice accumulate and create a larger impact. A youth who refuses to be part of dishonesty is already contributing to the moral strength of the nation. Justice also requires compassion. To stand for justice is to stand for those who cannot stand for themselves. It is to raise your voice for the weak, the oppressed, and the voiceless. Real strength lies in using your own privilege, your own opportunities, and your own voice to protect the dignity of others. This is what separates selfish ambition from true leadership. A leader who lacks compassion may gain power, but they will never inspire hearts. A leader who stands for justice, however, becomes immortal in the memory of their people because they gave them hope when they had none. Youth must understand that the path of justice is never easy. It will test their patience, it will test their resilience, and it will test their belief in themselves. They will face resistance from those who benefit from corruption and dishonesty. They will be mocked for their idealism and pressured to give up. But if they remain steadfast, their example will ignite the courage of others. One person standing for justice inspires another, and soon a wave of change begins. This is how societies transform, not through empty slogans, but through individuals who live with integrity and refuse to compromise their principles. Strength that comes from injustice is temporary, but strength that comes from standing for justice is eternal. History remembers those who had the courage to fight for fairness, to challenge oppression, and to sacrifice for the truth. The youth who dedicate themselves to justice ensure that the future of their nation is built not on corruption and exploitation, but on dignity and equality. This commitment to justice is what gives true meaning to strength and separates ordinary lives from lives of greatness. Be the change to inspire generations, because transformation does not begin with speeches or promises. It begins with personal action. Every young person carries within themselves the power to influence others, not by what they say, but by how they live. The world has always been shaped by individuals who decided to change themselves first and then inspired others through their example. When youth take responsibility for their actions, discipline their lives, and dedicate themselves to higher values, they become role models who naturally influence the people around them. One act of courage, one decision of honesty, one display of resilience can ignite hope in others and create a chain reaction of positive change that travels far beyond the individual. To be the change means refusing to wait for others to fix problems. It means looking at injustice and deciding not to be a part of it, looking at corruption and deciding not to accept it, looking at mediocrity and deciding to rise above it. Youth often complain about the state of society, but real transformation begins when they decide to lead by example instead of pointing fingers. Change is contagious, but someone has to take the first step. That first step is difficult because it often feels small and invisible, but over time it builds momentum. People may not listen to words, but they will notice consistency, integrity, and character. And once they see it, they will follow it. Generations are inspired not by comfort, but by struggle. The stories that live on are of those who sacrificed, who endured, and who refused to compromise. A young person who chooses to be honest in a corrupt environment, who works hard when others take shortcuts, who speaks the truth when others remain silent, such a person becomes a beacon for everyone around them. This light does not fade with time. It spreads to peers, to communities, and eventually to future generations. When youth realize that their lives can serve as examples, they begin to carry themselves differently. They understand that their actions today will shape the character of tomorrow's leaders. Being the change also requires vision. It is not only about improving one's own life, but about imagining a better future for others. A generation inspired by youth who live with purpose will grow up with stronger values, higher ambitions, and greater courage. This is how societies evolve and progress, through the transmission of ideals from one generation to the next. The youth of today have the responsibility to plant seeds of integrity, resilience, and justice so that the youth of tomorrow can harvest them. This responsibility is heavy, but it is also a privilege because it allows one life to influence thousands. The path of becoming the change is not easy. It demands patience because results do not appear immediately. It demands sacrifice because one must often go against the tide of convenience and comfort. It demands faith because others may not understand or appreciate the struggle at first. But slowly, as consistency shows, as actions align with principles, the impact becomes visible. People begin to trust, respect, and follow those who live what they preach. Leadership is not imposed, it is earned through example, and the youth who embody change naturally rise to positions of influence. Every generation looks up to the one before it for guidance. If today's youth choose to live with courage, discipline, and integrity, they will set the standard for those who come after them. If they compromise, the next generation will compromise even more. But if they rise above fear and weakness, the next generation will rise even higher. This is the true power of being the change. It does not end with one life. It creates a legacy that continues long after. The youth who embrace this role become more than individuals. They become symbols of transformation, shaping not just their own destiny, but the destiny of their nation for generations to come. My young brothers and sisters, throughout this journey, we have spoken about self-transformation, courage, discipline, justice, and the responsibility of being the change. But remember, these are not just words. They are principles that can shape the course of your life and the destiny of our nation. The truth is simple: no leader, no government, no system can transform a nation unless its youth first decide to transform themselves. You are not ordinary individuals passing through time. You are the force that carries the future of this country. If you rise with belief, no obstacle can stand against you. The world will always test you with fear, doubt, and failure. There will always be those who will tell you that change is impossible, that dreams are unrealistic, that honesty does not work. But history has proven them wrong again and again. Every revolution, every moment of greatness was born from those who refused to bow down before fear. Your courage and your faith will be the weapons that conquer the darkness of doubt. Never underestimate the power of a single individual who decides to live with integrity, because one example can inspire thousands, and thousands can transform a nation. Discipline and hard work will be your companions on this path. Without them, even the brightest talent fades away. Greatness does not come overnight. It is built step by step, sacrifice by sacrifice. You must train yourselves to stay focused when the world distracts you, to work hard when others give up, and to rise again when life knocks you down. That resilience, that consistency will prepare you for leadership, not just in words, but in actions. True strength lies in standing for justice, even when you stand alone. Remember, the worth of a leader is not measured by wealth or position, but by their ability to defend truth and protect the weak. And above all, never forget that real change begins with you. If you demand honesty, then live honestly. If you dream of a strong nation, then build strength within yourself. If you want fairness, then be fair in your own dealings. Be the change that you want to see, and generations after you will walk the path you create. This is your moment, this is your responsibility, and this is your destiny. Rise with courage, live with integrity, and lead with faith, for the future of this nation rests in your hands.